Hi, and thanks for listening to Gossip with Celebrity, brought to you by Celebrity.com. This week we talk about Taylor Swift, the Royals, Thomas Middleditch, and we have a spoiler-free discussion about Hustlers. Our user question is about Kanye West's church, and we end with our weekly feature, the comments of the week. The stories we talk about can be found at Celebrity.com/podcast under episode 30.
Hi, I'm Katie, the founder and editor of Celebrity.com, and I write as Celebrity.
And I'm Chandra. I write as Kaiser, and I'm the head writer for Celebrity.
So I wanted to start this off by saying I'm sorry to my mom, because last week on the podcast we talked about the little car accident I got into, and then my mom sent me a text saying, "Oh, I heard about your accident on the podcast, and I'm glad you're okay." I feel like such a jerk. I tell my mom everything, and I told this story so many times that I just assumed I told her.
Yeah, I think that's weird because I told my mom about your car accident. I was like, Katie got into a car accident.
I kept telling that stupid story to everybody. I sent like a bunch of people pictures of it. I figured, oh, of course I told my mom, but I totally didn't. I love you, Mom. Thank you for listening to us and for putting up with me and listening to my problems all the time. So how are you doing? You've been like telling me that cats are fighting or they're eating too much food or what? It's still happening.
Yeah, I mean, my mom's cat, who is now my cat, Dexter, he's a little fat ass and he loves to eat. He would just eat every hour, like a can every hour if I gave it to him. These days, as I'm trying to work, he'll sit beside me and just wail. He either wants to like be fed or he wants to go outside. He'll sit outside and then he'll cry to come back in, and then he'll start crying to be fed. And so it's just like a huge thing. But the two cats are fighting a little bit, but it's kind of cute. Like they're not really mad at each other.
They're just play fighting, like?
Mostly the little kitten he's fascinated by the big kitty and he wants to follow him around and do everything he does. And that annoys Dexter completely.
That's so cute. It's like a little copycat. That must be where that comes from. Oh my gosh, I never even thought about that term. That's adorable. Do you think Dexter is frustrated over his new situation and that's why he's being so needy and hungry?
Like panic eating?
Yeah.
I think that was probably true, like maybe the first week, but I mostly think he's just a fat ass. He loves to eat. He's always loved to eat. He's a very thick boy, and I mean like THICC. He's a thick boy.
Oh, now we're getting into this again. Oh, that's only for adult age people. Oh my gosh.
But he's inside right now, and I'm like half expecting him to come downstairs and like tell me that I need to feed him.
That's okay. We'll leave it.
Yeah, they're really cute. I mean, they're very cute. And Dexter, like, he's a fat ass, but he's a really good cat otherwise. Like, he's very patient with the kitten.
Aww.
He's not in my hair constantly. He'll just go out and play by himself and investigate his new neighborhood, and he likes that.
So the panther kitty is not an outdoor kitty, really, unless you're watching him?
I've never let him outside. Well, I mean, I have, but that was when he was just a baby, and he was just scared to death of everything outside. So I just don't put him outside anymore.
Yeah, it's better to keep them indoors so they don't get a taste for it and start wandering. This week wasn't bad. It was interesting so far. We had Taylor Swift on the cover of Rolling Stone. I really like how you titled that story that Kanye's living rent-free in her head. And I know that's an old saying, but I haven't heard it in a while, and I love it.
I've used that reference a few times every now and then, but I actually can't take credit for it in this case because someone tweeted that at me when I was talking about how bonkers it was. And I'm sorry for not giving you credit, whoever did tweet that at me. It stuck in my head, and I was like, that is exactly what's happening. He's living rent-free in her head.
There's a lot of good sayings in our industry that are a gossip industry, which have helped me personally think about things. Like if they did it with you, they'll do it to you. how you got them is how you'll lose them. Not that I'm a cheater or anything, but I love all those sayings because it's old wisdom and it happens to everybody and blah, blah. Except nobody's as whack as Taylor Swift and holds on to grudges for 3 years. Or we do, but we're wise enough not to talk about it.
Well, I mean, honestly, though, it's been 10 years. It's been a decade of Kanye and Taylor drama and beef.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Yeah. So I was thinking when I read your intro, because I usually read what you write before I read the boring celebrity interviews, I thought you were overselling it, and you were not. You were not. It is insane. She really remembers everything that she believes Kanye and Scooter Braun and whoever else did to her, and she'll go over it in painstaking detail. Like, is no one telling her this is a really bad media strategy? You need to just drop it.
Okay, did you read the entire Rolling Stone article? Because it was absolutely bonkers. It really was.
I read your excerpts.
So okay. There was like so much stuff that I couldn't even like fit in there. Those were huge posts and I did like huge chunks of excerpts, and it was just crazy. The way she twists everything and her compulsive misrepresentation that she's always got to be the victim in every single narrative in her life. It was shocking to see it laid out like that in interview form.
It is. You and I had a little disagreement about how to phrase this, because I said Taylor misinterprets it and you said she misrepresents it. And my interpretation is that Taylor is so egotistical and so narcissistic that she really sees everybody as being against her, when in reality, she's just not able to step back and see that it's not specifically about her every time.
Yeah, I think that interpretation is dead on. If we were just seeing this for the first time right now, we would say, okay, it's like this willful misinterpretation. But it's so chronic, and it's been so chronic for so many years, as we've seen. I think it is like a willful misrepresentation. Even when she's being called out in Rolling Stone, she's still saying this shit. But yeah, I agree with you that she's very much in her own head, up her own ass, that she's always the victim.
I want to tell everybody, listen to our first podcast again. In the part where we talk about being contacted by people. So if you're not familiar with the story, she claims Kanye West didn't run the lyrics in Famous by her. Initially, she claimed that. Then she claimed he only ran part of the lyrics by her. But if you listen to the segments released by Kim Kardashian of their conversation, she said it was okay. She's like, that's cool. I'm cool with you, whatever. So he thought it was okay to say, I made that bitch famous. It's just one line in his song. I'm sorry, go ahead.
I mean, because I've written about it so many friggin' times. I know, like, the entire backstory. She keeps on harping on the fact that she didn't give her permission for I made that bitch famous. Granted, I think that's true. She didn't give her permission for that. That being said, the phone conversation that Kim released on Snapchat, Taylor says, you didn't even need to call me.
Yeah.
That was the vibe of, thank you so much for calling, but you didn't need my permission.
Yeah. So you have two awful people in various ways. And one wants to paint herself as the victim, and she's really perseverating on it. It's outrageous. People are going to suck in life. People are going to do you wrong, and you have to move on. You just have to let it go and move on. And especially if you have more money than anybody else in your entire industry, like, just count your money and get over it, you know, like, buy some houses, go get an island, you know, like, isn't your life wonderful? No, obviously not, because you're holding on to this grudge.
And speaking of, like, holding on to grudges, Kanye tapped out of this narrative 3 years ago. He really did.
Yeah.
Before the Snapchat thing. Taylor was still playing the victim, and Kanye tapped out. He said, you know, I've been down this road before. I'm not going to make this into a big deal.
Yeah.
Kim was the one who was upset. Kim was the one who wanted to set the record straight.
3 years ago.
Yeah, this was the summer of 2016 that Kim released the Snapchats. And Taylor is still going on about something that happened. She is willfully misrepresenting, in my opinion.
Okay, I think she's just whacked and everything's always about her and against her. Yeah.
Yeah, and so she's still going on about the 2015 VMAs, 4 years ago, almost exactly.
So I want to read this with the music because this is the part where MTV corrected her, and I'll read the correction after I read this. These are quotes from Taylor Swift in her cover of Rolling Stone. That's the October edition. He called me up maybe a week or so before the event, and we had maybe an hour-long conversation. And he's like, I really, really would like for you to present this Vanguard Award to me. This would mean so much to me. And went into all the reasons why it means so much, because he can be so sweet. He can be the sweetest. I make this speech and he screams, MTV got Taylor Swift up here to present me this award for ratings. And I'm standing in the audience with my arm around his wife, and this chill ran through my body. I realized he is so two-faced, that he wants to be nice to me behind the scenes, but then he wants to look cool, get up in front of everyone and talk shit. And I was so upset. He wanted me to come talk to him after the event in his dressing room. I wouldn't go. So then he sends this big, big thing of flowers the next day to apologize.
Yeah. Thing about the flowers, he sent those flowers to her as a thank you, not as a fucking apology. Yeah. He was so happy that Taylor presented the award to him. He sent her flowers as a thank you, and she misrepresents that.
So MTV added in a bracketed sentence that Kanye's exact words on stage at the VMAs were, you know how many times they announced Taylor was going to give me the award because it got them more ratings. It wasn't about MTV inviting Taylor. He said they kept hyping it, and it was about that.
Yeah, and that's what all the ads were about. I remember those VMAs because MTV made the ads all about how Taylor Swift and Kanye were going to reunite on stage.
Yeah.
So 6 years after the incident in 2009. And Kanye was pointing out that it was just all about ratings for MTV. Anyway.
I'm glad Rolling Stone corrected her. Just, oh my gosh.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. I mean, I could see if it happened this year, but even 6 months ago, this is too much. Just let it stop harping on it. It's been 4 years since that, 3 years since the receipts were dropped.
Yep. And what's especially crazy is that was only one little part of the crazy of this Rolling Stone interview. She was batshit insane about literally everything. She talked complete bullshit about the Girl Squad. She talked bullshit about Scott Borchetta and Scooter Braun and why she didn't do all of these benefits. And Rolling Stone kept correcting her. But it's a long interview.
So I don't know if I'm going to ever read the whole thing. I'm sorry.
I read it so you don't have to.
Thank you. You took one for the team. You always do. One thing I was saying on Twitter was that it's interesting how nobody is talking in these posts, and then you pointed out that her snake fam can't even defend her on this. And that's why there's no arguing, because everybody kind of agrees that she went way too far.
Yeah, and I actually looked up some of the snake fam comments on Twitter. They made very conscious choices to just pick on one or two comments that she made about Game of Thrones that I couldn't even fit in to my coverage because there was so much other stuff. They kept it real tight. They did not want to discuss anything of substance in the interview. They were like, no, she really loves Game of Thrones. Okay, that was not the point of the interview at all.
Yeah. You can have all the money and all the success in the world, and if you don't get your focus straight and your belief system right, it's not going to help. That just kind of shows that.
This is her business. This is her brand, is being a white victim, being the poor little white girl.
It's kind of goes back to what we were talking about Jennifer Aniston last week. Just get some therapy, get a life coach, understand how to let go of things and how to move on and how to grow as a person. But yeah, it is her business too. I know what you're saying.
Yeah, but you have to want to grow. You have to want that. You have to want to grow. You have to want to move on. And does Taylor want those things? I'm really
No.
asking. Do you think that she wants those
No,
things?
it's kind of like an addiction. You can't change. You can't unless you want to. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so
Let's move on from Taylor Swift.
yeah, we're gonna do that. So we had a few royal stories this week, and the one that was the most ridiculous was the son trying to give Duchess Kate credit for how well Meghan has been doing with her charity work, as if Kate's charity is at all productive. So it was full of quotes. I'm going to give a couple of quotes. I'm not going to play the music. Kate is a huge inspiration. She's provided a princess masterclass since she married William, and Meghan realizes she has a lot to learn from her. Kate has been constantly graceful and elegant, flawless actually, and has an intuition for how ordinary British people think and feel about things which Meghan has struggled to grasp. Yeah.
So basically, the point of it was that Meghan's Smart Set launch was such a huge success, they can't nitpick her about anything, really.
Yeah.
And so, therefore, her successful launch is a credit to Kate, obviously. Yeah, it became this huge, like, meme on Twitter and Instagram with famous Black women and their accomplishments. Thanks, Kate. Kate did all of this stuff.
Yeah.
Kate was Serena Williams before Serena Williams was a thing. Kate really helped Harriet Tubman out, too.
Oh, man. A lot of people pointed out today in the photos of Kate visiting like a children's center that she could have worn some pants from the SmartWorks collection. It's possible they're hard to get now because everybody's bought them up, but you would think that if she was so close to Meghan and was such an inspiration to Meghan, she would support her or something like that, or carry the purse.
Yeah.
Yeah, that didn't happen, so maybe she will later. And there were minor royal stories. Meghan re-upped the trademark for her lifestyle site, The Tig, but her spokesperson said she doesn't plan to relaunch that site. She probably just doesn't want anybody else to use the name, as you mentioned in the post about it. So this story was kind of hilarious and sad in a way. Thomas Middleditch, and we were asked on Twitter to make sure we say who he is because nobody knows or cares. He's the lead on Silicon Valley. They try to sort of lambast the toxic douche bro culture of...
Yeah, it's more like, it's not a parody, it's just a representation of the douche bro culture of Silicon Valley.
Yeah, and they kind of lean a little too heavily into that, and on the show I had a hard time watching the past couple seasons. And he's also on those annoying Verizon commercials. He told Playboy that he's a swinger, which, okay, you do you, but it does not sound like swinging. He has been married since 2015. He's 37. His wife, Molly, is a costume designer. He admitted that he only told her he wanted to, quote unquote, swing, this is not swinging, but he wanted to sleep with other people, but he only told her about it after they were married. He said they argue about it constantly. These are his words.
Mm-hmm.
And he tries to negotiate when he wants to hook up with other women. It is not swinging. It is not open marriage or polyamory. That's just one dude being like, I'm going to cheat, and you're either okay with it or I leave you.
If I was being really generous, I would say that maybe they are swingers and he just didn't explain it right.
No.
Yeah, like that's the best possible option, is that like he didn't want to talk about how she swings as well.
Okay. Yeah.
But the way he made it sound, like his actual words to Playboy were that it very much sounded like he decided that he wanted to keep screwing other women even after they were married, and she just has to deal with it. And that's not swinging. Yeah, it's just having a one-sided open marriage.
Ugh. And he also admitted that she didn't want him talking about it, and he still talked about it. That's not cool. It's awful.
But, he's actually been on my shit list for a while, and I was like, why was he on my shit list? Because I couldn't remember why I had an aversion to him when I was writing that story up.
Mm-hmm.
And it's because he defended that douche bro like co-star.
What's that guy's name? I can picture him.
He's an awful person. He probably is a rapist as well.
Oh, TJ Miller.
Yeah, that guy. And Thomas Middleditch kind of like halfway defended him and really didn't separate himself from TJ Miller's shenanigans. And I remember thinking, well, that's kind of gross. You know, that's not really the way that you should separate yourself from a guy. But anyway.
Yeah. The other two dudes on that show seem pretty decent, and that's Kamal Nanjiani. Yeah, he's an awesome person. And then the other guy
is the only cool guy.
Yeah. Well, the other guy who plays the satanic guy is okay, I think. I don't know much about him, but yeah, I actually know couples who do this poly thing. They're usually pretty I don't know about they're respectful about it. I don't know how much I should say. I knew them for a couple years before I figured this out, or before anybody clued me in. I was a little annoyed that I was not told about it. And then a lot of things added up for me about them. But they have an arrangement with each other, and they're really respectful, I think. I don't know, of the other's wishes. But it's already complicated enough to be in a relationship. And also, there's a difference between swinging and polyamory. Swinging is like those gross key parties or whatever where people just hook up. Bleh. And poly is where people get in other relationships, I think. I don't care. This dude's a cheater and he's justifying it and emotionally abusing his wife.
Yeah, my humble, naive middle-class understanding of swinging is that both people are allowed to swing. Both people in a marriage have sex with other people. That's not what's happening here.
No, I'm saying I'm going to another level. There's a difference between swinging and polyamory. And
yeah, I can understand. Polyamory is you're actually in relationships. Yeah. I'm just saying it's not polyamory. It's not swinging. Yeah. It's just him fucking around with his wife's permission.
Grudging permission. Oh,
yeah.
Man. Yeah. Okay. I thought about that too long. And that grosses me out, those people who do that, but
yeah, I don't really care. I mean, I could see how maybe swinging could work for some people.
Yeah.
The thing that I don't understand is polyamory. I don't understand how you can be in love with multiple people and be in relationships with multiple people at the same time. I don't.
It all bugs me, but So I saw Hustlers last night, and when did you see it?
I saw it opening night.
Okay, cool. What did you think?
I loved it. What did you think?
I liked it, but I didn't love it because it was sad. There was like an undercurrent of losing your friends and female friendships breaking down.
I was expecting that. I read the reviews. That's why I went to see it, because the reviews were like, this is a really good movie.
Yeah.
It's not all, rah-rah strippers having fun.
Yeah.
It's actually a serious story. Although the fun stripper stuff was really fun.
It was. There was a scene where Jennifer Lopez was demonstrating the pole moves. It was phenomenal. Her body's insane. That was awesome. All the scenes with everybody getting down and like Lizzo playing flute, and it was just fun.
Well, what did you think about the scene, though, of Jennifer Lopez doing the strip to Fiona Apple's Criminal?
Oh, she's awesome. She's really got the moves. And I was telling you, I didn't write about it. I was considering writing about it. I took pole dancing lessons for one summer. That is really hard. Getting that right and looking sexy while doing it is years of work.
Yeah. And Jennifer, she has her own YouTube channel now, and she posted this long video, which I sat there and watched because I loved Hustlers so much. Nice. So I watched this video of her prep for trying to learn how to striptease in basically like 6 weeks, I think she gave herself. And that was the product of 6 weeks of work with the like professional stripper. And she was killing it almost immediately, even though she was like all bruised, and she was just like, this is the hardest thing I've ever had to do. That's a great video.
I can't imagine getting it down in 6 weeks. That's insane.
Well, I mean, she has so much professional dance experience already, though.
That's true. She does that for her job. Her opening of the AMAs, which was several years ago, was one of the best dance sequences I've ever seen. She really can kill it on stage.
I mean, her entrance on stage, I couldn't breathe. It was so good. It was awesome.
It was awesome. There were a lot of great dance scenes. There were a lot of fun scenes of excess and shopping and...
But did you notice that, like, Constance Wu's character, she was never good at a dancer. She was never good at it.
We didn't see her dance. Did we see her dance?
She just, like, kind of stood there. Even, like, when she was supposed to be dancing in the private room with Jennifer, she never danced. She could never do it.
Yeah, we didn't see her moves. She was adequate. She was okay in that movie. And I liked the scenes when she got emotional. We're not going to give any spoilers here, but she didn't really bring it. And
no, she
there's
didn't.
something wooden about her. It wasn't bad. It's just I didn't really care too much about her character either way.
As an actress, I felt like she was the weakest part of the movie.
Yeah.
She was strong enough to, like, be the kind of the blank slate for the ensemble, I thought.
Yeah.
That kind of worked. And the ensemble was amazing. I love Lili Reinhart and I love Keke Palmer so much.
Lili Reinhart was great and Keke Palmer was great. They were both really excellent. I loved Lili Reinhart kept puking and that was hilarious.
When Keke does that thing in the back seat, everyone in my theater, at least, was laughing hysterically. Anyway,
it was a cute movie, but yeah, like I said, it was sad. It was also sorry, go ahead.
So, do you think that Jennifer is going to win an Oscar? I think she is, because I thought she acted her ass off. I think she
might. Her 2 Oscar scenes were when she was describing the scam for the first time to Constance Wu's character Destiny in the diner, and she was talking about how everybody's on the take and we might as well be on the take too, and how all the men are doing it on Wall Street and how they scammed all of America. That was an awesome speech. And then at the end she had another emotional moment that just was really moving. So she had 2
I loved
really
that.
great. Yeah,
that scene at the end was amazing. It really was. And I just thought she just acted her ass off throughout the entire movie, though.
But she doesn't overact.
No, she doesn't. It's not like, oh, here's my Oscar scene. You could, like, really feel, like, the working class roots jumping out, you know?
And you don't feel like she's playing herself either. She really puts this character on and understands this character and plays it subtly and well, like it's a real person, and that's her. I enjoyed the movie. It was very good. I would have liked a little more levity to it, but it wasn't that kind of story. And Julia Stiles was great too. I miss seeing her. I really like her. And I didn't realize until I read a little bit about it that all of these characters were real. And this is a true story. I mean, I knew it was a true story, but I thought the Julia Stiles character was an invention, but she wasn't. She really was a journalist.
Yeah. Well, the journalist who wrote the story for the New York Magazine.
Yeah.
And that was the story that everything is based on.
Yeah.
So that's who Julia is playing. I just loved it. I thought it was a great movie from start to finish. I thought it was well directed. You could tell that there was a woman's touch throughout, that a woman wrote it, a woman directed it, the same woman, and that Jennifer produced it. The strippers were being objectified in the movie, but the director wasn't objectifying them.
That's a really good point. Yeah, I like how you pointed that out, and I guess I did notice that, or I didn't notice. A lot of times I'll watch movies or shows and I'll notice the sexism in them, and it'll make me kind of roll my eyes and not want to keep watching. And I didn't have that with this. And now that you mention it, I realize that. And that's going to be hard for something showing strippers. But yeah, I'm glad I watched it. It was fun. I would watch it again.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah. Let's move on to the user questions. You can text us or leave a voicemail at 434-218-3219. You can email us info@celebrity.com or through social media. We got a voicemail from Jacqueline asking us about Kanye's church, and here's that.
Hi, guys. My name's Jacqueline. I listen every Monday morning on my way to work. It makes it so much better, so thank you. I wanted to see if you had any thoughts on Kanye West and the Kardashians and their recent foray into becoming religious leaders with Kanye's Sunday Service series. I know a lot of more mainstream celebrities have started attending the services, like Brad Pitt, and I think it could be really interesting, especially considering how culty some people are saying it all is. So I wondered if you guys had any thoughts. I would love to hear your take. Thanks again. Love the show. Love the site. Thank you guys. Bye.
Thanks, Jacqueline. That was really nice of you. I appreciate you saying that and leaving us a message. So she left this message a couple weeks ago, and I didn't know enough about Kanye's services to comment on it. But in the meantime, just recently, they posted one of his services to YouTube. I mean, there was probably other ones there. This is just the one I found. And he was in Atlanta with the New Birth Missionary Baptist Church. And it was like an hour long outside on a stage. I'll post a link to that in the post for the podcast. This is podcast 30. So there's a whole choir. It seems very much like an awesome church, like a church you'd want to go with, just because it's like a party. They're singing. It's nice. I've never gone to a Baptist church, but I would definitely go to that church.
Yeah, I mean, there's just a lot of singing, and he proselytizes and he sermonizes, and I think they're like guest speakers and they're like guest musicians and all that kind of stuff. I mean, that's how it seems when they're in Calabasas.
So in that clip that I saw, Kanye is given a sermon, but it's very much off the cuff. He's kind of swaying and closing his eyes, and he pauses a lot, like he's trying to come up with what to say. And I'm going to play a little clip from that. This is about just how he thinks material objects and success don't matter as much as his relationship with God.
I've seen everything that the devil could have showed you via TV, videos, car dealerships, jewelry, houses. And I tell you, nothing beats God. And of sound mind, because the devil had me chasing a gold statue, had me chasing cars, had me chasing numbers. The power of God cannot be calculated by a number, by a first week sale, by a bank account, by how many cars you drive, by how big your house is and how many acres you got.
That's a nice message. I'm trying to really process how I feel about this, because it's delicate to talk about religion and people's.
Well, you want me to talk about it instead? I'll talk about it.
Can I just say this one thing I wanted to say about it, and then you could do it?
Okay.
So he's saying all this stuff about how money shouldn't matter, how he's chasing numbers and success, but he still does those things too. And he still sells $300 sneakers. He still lives in a $60 million mansion. It's kind of a disconnect to me, but go ahead. Sorry.
No, I just think that this whole thing, this whole Kanye's church, Kanye's sermons, I think it's part of trying to process his mental illness. I really do.
Oh, okay.
I mean, you could say it's an ego trip, but I think it's just him. I mean, he's always talked about God. He's rapped about God. He's made music about God and Jesus. But I think that it's become more intense since his mental health struggles have gotten a lot deeper. And I think that's what this is. I think, yeah.
It helps. I can see where it helps him. It's really beneficial to people to pray and to have a spiritual life and to have a relationship with God, or to meditate, however they do that, to deal with their issues. And I'm sure it helps them.
Yeah, that's being very generous. I mean, this is not about Kanye having a deep personal and private relationship with God. This
private.
is about him pretending to be a preacher.
And he's merchandising that shit too. He's selling t-shirts and stuff.
He's going to create albums out of it too. He is.
Yeah. So Jacqueline wanted to know, people are saying it's culty, and she just wanted to hear our take on it. And I get why other celebrities are going to it. I mean, it makes sense why other celebrities go, like, I guess, Idris Elba and DMX and Brad Pitt went there.
I don't think it's as culty as Hillsong. That's the one that a lot of the young Hollywood people go to.
Yeah.
And I think that's very suspicious. I don't think that Kanye's Sunday service is as organized. It's not organized enough to be a cult. Does that make sense?
Yeah, because one of the hallmarks of cults is that if you try to leave, they shun you, and the cult is always right, and there's all these rules around it. But
I think this is just Kanye's ego trip and his mental health struggles. I think that's it. And music. People just want to come for the music, and Kanye gets to rant a little bit and whatever.
It looks fun. But all right, let's move on to the comments of the week. So my comment of the week is on the post about Duchess Kate naming a boat, and that's the boat that was rightfully supposed to be named Bodie McBoatface by popular demand.
I cannot believe that they're not going to name that boat Bodie McBoatface.
It's just cute. Like, there's nothing offensive. It's not Bodie McButtface, you know?
It was a Democratic vote. Everyone wanted Bodie McBoatface. I'm still mad about that.
I wouldn't be mad. I don't care, but I think it's whatever. It's a boat.
I'm a Bodie McBoatface truther, basically.
Well, people voted for that, and it wasn't like this trolling 4chan thing. It was a genuine, like, oh, this is cute. Just name it that. You can paint a little Bodie face on it. It could be like the boat Thomas the Tank Engine. It could have a whole personality. Market the hell out of that. But no.
Seriously. You were absolutely right.
So Trillian said on that post, funny how they won't name the boat that, but the Brexit poll is of course legit and binding.
Yep.
And then Pineapple said, well, Trillian, the naming of a boat is serious stuff. XO, you shouldn't muck that up. It could cause decades of serious repercussions. I'm so sorry to the British people and all the EU people who are going to be affected by this, and I hope it doesn't happen. Oh my gosh. So that's just my editorializing on this story.
My comment of the week is from one of the Taylor Swift stories, and it was the part where she talks about how she had no idea that her girl squad would be construed as a mean girl clique. And Mumbles wrote, gee, I don't know how the girl squad was misconstrued. All I did was assemble a group of other rich, privileged women, and I barely know them, for a video to attack another woman in a business I don't like. Is she for real?
I know. She needs to stop her navel gazing, but as you said before, she has to want to stop doing that, and that's her favorite pastime.
Yep, basically. It's her whole personality.
Count your money. Get some real estate. There's plenty of other hobbies you could do. All right. Thanks for listening, bitches.
Thanks, bitches.
Thanks for listening to the Celebrity Podcast. We're now on iHeartRadio. If you like us, tell a friend. And if you subscribe, review, and rate us wherever you listen, it helps us out. We need more voice messages to play on the show, and you can leave us one at 434-218-3219. Our music is from Premium Beat, AA Alto, and Maiden. Thanks again.